Color, one of the most misunderstood concepts in human design. One very important misunderstanding that distorts your entire chart. In order to really understand what color represents in your chart, we need to go back to the beginning and think back on the story of neutrinos. After the encounter, Ra offered a theory that neutrinos do actually carry mass. This theory is something that has been confirmed by the scientists later on. The thing that is tricky with neutrinos is that they are so tiny that it's basically impossible to capture them in order to measure them correctly. So scientists are still having a lot of difficulties with understanding neutrinos. And while they have confirmed that neutrinos do indeed carry mass, they are also claiming that the weight of neutrino is so tiny that it doesn't actually interact. Ra has said that neutrinos penetrate us. They are constantly flying through us. Unlike the scientists, Ra claims that while they are flying through us, they are actually hitting us. They are hitting these crystals of consciousness, this core of what we actually are. Scientists, on the other hand, claim that they don't hit anything. They're just flying through and they leave no information, actually confirming that neutrinos do interact with us and that they do carry enough weight to leave us with some information while they're flying through us. It would be very dangerous for the science, because this could actually be something that confirms that planets indeed have an effect on us, which means it would confirm that astrology is valid, which is not something that scientific world will ever want to happen. So what we do naturally as humans, we choose to believe or not. And if you're in human design, it means you chose to believe that these neutrinos actually leave us with some information every time that they penetrate us. The actual analogy that the science offers here is an analogy of a fishing net. If you go fishing and you pull the net out of the sea, everything that is smaller than the loops of the net will fall through, will not stay in the net, and therefore will not affect those things that are in the net once you pull it out. Now, if you can imagine these two crystals, the design crystal and personality crystal, floating in nothingness, and being hit by neutrinos, constantly being exposed to this, what Ra calls the rain of neutrinos, every moment of their existence. The way they enter these crystals, according to Ra, is one at a time. So this crystal, the tip of the crystal gets hit by a neutrino, and this point of contact, first contact, is the entry frequency. It's where the neutrino, where the information enters the crystal, and this is what we call the base. This neutrino continues traveling through the crystal, and while it's going through the inside of the crystal, something gets created here. This frequency is what we call inner frequency, or the tone. On the other end of the crystal, we have an exit frequency, a point of information exiting the crystal, and this is what we call color. These are the holy trinity of human design. This concept is known in many other disciplines, in religion, in systems, even in psychology. To really explain this well, I always like to imagine a crystal being my head. So we're talking about a design sun and earth. We're talking about the brain. Imagine your brain floating in space and being hit by a neutrino. It gets hit by it somewhere in the back. This is the entry frequency. You're not aware of how the information enters your brain. It's extremely difficult, and I would dare to say impossible, to become aware of this. You can imagine it being on the back of your head. You don't have your eyes there. You can't see there. It's invisible to you, but it got in. And it got in and it sat in this pool known as cognition. This is your tone. Tone is within. It's inside your head. It's inside the crystal. It's the inward process. And this is what Ra also calls the architect, or your department of planning, your department of work. Which department do you work in? Department of smell, department of taste, department of vision. This is where the construct gets created. And this is why this tone is the correct place of your determination, of your decision-making process. This is where we talk about the actual true inner authority. Inner authority is what's happening within. It's inside and it's in the body. It's not in the mind. So this is where things get designed within. Now the way this design comes out to the surface, the way this image that has been created within gets projected out is through color. I also love to give an example of a projector machine. You know, the old school ones that had those transparency sheets that you had to put on them. So you plug this projector machine into the wall and you get the base. You get the entry frequency. You get the energy that's starting to flow through. And then you have designed an image that you put on top of this machine. And this is your tone. And you better make sure that this image is designed in your own department and not somebody else's department. Because you only have mastery of your own department. So if you work in a department of inner vision, but your image has been created in a department of touch, the exit frequency or the image projected on the wall will be distorted. It will be misunderstood. It will be upside down. It will be blurry. The color is what others see. The color is what gets projected onto the wall for the world to see. It's the impression that they get. If you have created your image, if you have made your decision based on your tone, on that cognition, on that specific department that you are employed in, then this image will be perfect. Then people will see exactly what you want them to see. They will see what you have designed, what you have constructed in a literal, clean way. There will be no distortion. Ra explained this beautifully, almost in the exact same way as me. I'm just giving you a bit more examples. And I don't know what happened along the way, because suddenly he started advising people to take things in based on their exit frequency, which makes absolutely no sense. There's no logic in it. This holy trinity, the base, the tone, and the color, can also be observed as the past, present, and the future. The body, it can only ever be in the now. Mind can be all over the place. Body can't be tomorrow. Body is only in the now. The tone is present. The base is past. It's something that happened and you have no idea that happened. Something oriented you. Something got in. in your head, in your brain, and you have no idea how or when. It happened before you felt the need to create this construct. It could have only happened before the construct. And the color is the future. It's not what is a part of you in that sense. It's what's in front of you. It's what is visible. It's like in Christianity, we have the concept of God. It's something we don't see, but we believe it's there. It's in the back of our head. It's in the base. It's the source. It's the information that comes in, but we have no idea where it comes from. And the tone is this Holy Spirit. It's within you. And then we have Jesus, a physical manifestation, which can only be in front of our eyes. It's something that we get to see. Jesus is the one that's in all the pictures and on the statues. It's not the God and it's not the Holy Spirit. Jesus is what has been put out there for others to look at. The mechanics of human design are purely logical. This process, base tone color, is absolutely logical. You know what logic also is, or what it can be? Boring, dull. That's why people needed more from Ra. That's why he had to decorate human design, to make it more attractive to others. Very little people would care about living human design if they were told they have to accept their environmental notes, if they were told that that is the first step in order for them to be able to tap into their cognition. It's boring. It's not very catchy and shiny, and it doesn't sell. This kind of service doesn't sell. People have attention problems. And people love things that they can identify with. This is extremely difficult to identify with. But if you say you're a splenic manifester, that is easy. That's catchy. That sells. And then you're going to go on Facebook and say, who else is a splenic manifester? Again, what you're going to do with that is going to create homogenized groups. All you're doing with that is you're running away from yourself. You want to be like others. You want to belong. You want to be a part of something. This is all that is very natural for us. Ra often talked about selfishness and enlightenment. And it's not about being rude, and it's not about being immoral and all of these things that are being presented as a good thing in human design. It's just about quitting groups. There is no group enlightenment. It all starts with an individual. The next video, I'm going to give you a chart example of this. This concept that I came up with. This is not Ra. And if you're somebody who is just in this for listening to Ra and following Ra's word as a gospel, then this might not be for you. I call it a deconditioning formula. It's a very simple step-by-step process to deconditioning. And this is something that we all keep forgetting in this system. Deconditioning is the first step. Not listening to making decisions from a certain center that is, according to some kind of hierarchy, considered the strongest. This is all illusion. This is all something that you can't properly test. You all like to say, yeah, I'm in an experiment, I'm following my strategy and authority. You're not, you're just believing that you're doing so. You're just believing. There's no strategy for a projector to do nothing until formally invited. You can't. You absolutely can't. You'll die of starvation. First thing. It's just not realistic. And you can give yourself all kinds of excuses and say, well, that is not a major life decision, what to eat. It's absolutely a major life decision. What to eat? What is a major life decision? A relationship? A career? Those are just mundane constructs. Why are they seen as higher up on a scale than food? Why are they being seen as higher up on a scale than what you're going to wear today? It all belongs in the same bin. It's all mundane. And it's absolutely not necessary in awareness. When you're aware, you don't care about your career. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people are thinking about you. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or a single. If you have 5 friends, 1 friend, or no friends. It all doesn't matter. We are the open head world. And that's just the way things are. I'll see you in the next video.